got a question the other day about anchoring systems, and I use a Fox Hollow earth anchor, and the question was basically, do I use any other systems and how do I rig that up? I do use a couple of different systems. In certain places here in the Ozarks, the ground is just entirely too hard to put a stake in, a lot of limestone and shelf rock in certain places. So in those areas I use a drag. I use one of these super heavy duty drags. You can buy these at various trapping supply stores. I think I bought this at Minnesota Trapline. But you can also make these. I actually have a neighbor that's a welder, and he actually just made about 10 or 12 of these things for me. And they work really well. How I rig it up, I put a Minnesota brand crunch proof swivel and in the D-ring on the back of the drag. I put about 12 feet of chain, give or take, on there. I attach my chain to the chain on my trap with another Minnesota brand crunch proof swivel, so that gives me 4 swivel points right there. And then of course there's the swivel that comes with the actual MB550 trap, so I have 6 total swivel points. I usually have a JC Connor spring in the middle of this too. On this particular one I don't, but I usually do as well. And then that'll give me a couple more swivel points, so you end up with like 7 swivel points, give or take. A lot of line, or a lot of chain on there to really help the animal get hung up. And with that heavy duty drag, I've never lost anything. Of course, it's pretty thick here. I don't use it in open ground, but not an issue. The main earth anchor that I use, of course, is the Fox Hollow earth anchor, and I just buy these set up from Minnesota Trapline with the 16 inches of 2/0 chain, and then the S hook down at the bottom that's welded, and that's the main anchor that I use. And I really like this particular getup. I put a Minnesota brand crunch proof swivel on the end of this, and then hook that into my trap, and I don't add any extra chain or anything like that. I do usually add a JC Connor spring when I'm hooking these together, just to help the animal and give it a little bit of less tension when they go to pull on it. The only issue I've ever had with these particular anchors is, depending upon where I'm putting them in here in the Ozarks, we have a lot of clay here, a lot of really rocky ground. If I put this thing all the way in, which has got 16 inches of the chain on it, I can't get it out most of the time. I mean, it's like using a truck to get the thing out. So I usually go about halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway, 8 to 10 inches. I've never had anything pull out with 8 to 10 inches of this in the ground here, at least. And then I can actually get them out with a heavy duty puller. But if I put it all the way in at 16 inches, it's major work. And a lot of times I'll just leave them because I just can't get the things out. The other one that I will use from time to time is I'll use the cable into the Fox Hollow stake. These are 12-inch pieces of cable, and I find those work really well. I put them all the way down, put the cable down a little bit. When you pull up, then you have it just barely right even with the ground. And at 12 inches of cable, I find that I can usually remove these if I need to, and if not, you can always snip them off. I have trying to remove these at the end of the season or moving them for a different set. I have broke a couple of these cables with the heavy duty puller a couple times, but that's the only issue I've ever had. Never lost any animal with using the cable stakes. I prefer the chain, and I don't know that there's any specific reason other than I just like it better. I think it's easier to put in underneath my trap. It's easier to bed. I just trust it a little bit more, although I've never had a problem with the cable. So I use these two. And then in the past, I've used these Berkshire anchors with the cable. The only problem I've had with the Berkshires and why I don't use them anymore is if you pull these out, you can see this one's not so bad, but the little tip that you actually drive down into the ground with your stake driver, that will bend every time almost for me here in the Ozarks, as I really hoist and pull and to get that thing out in the raw hard ground here, the clay, the rock. This thing will bend, and then it flattens out, and then I'm pushing it back all the time, and then it's constantly bending, and it gets to a point where I can't drive them in anymore because this end is just like just so wishy-washy almost anymore. It's so flexible at that point. So I've never had any issues with animals pulling these out, but just driving them down became just a pain. Although they're a lot cheaper, comparably speaking, than the Fox Hollow anchors, I've never had any issues driving these things. They're basically bomb-proof, so I just quit using the Berkshires. I've never used the Wolfang anchors. I have several friends that do. They really like them. I should probably try them just to see if I like them. But I'm pretty set on the Fox Hollows. So those are the systems that I use. Fox Hollow drags either with cable or chain. I prefer the chain. And then the heavy duty drags with lots of chain on it, different swivel points. So hope that helps, and good luck on the trap line. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Send it to your friends, let them know about our channel. And again, put in the comments below, what do you guys use? Is there something out there I'm missing? I'm always trying to learn, so if there's a better system out there, please let me know. Let me know what you guys use. Talk to you soon.